Hey guys, listen, welcome into the building. I really expected to be here by myself tonight because I never ever, like ever, come on this late. But you know what? I had to go to the city today. I had to go to the city. I don't know if I told you I'm trying to get my chair straight here. That just tells you I'm not even prepared and ready, okay, to come on. But I had to go to the city today. So my dad, blessings, right? Blessings from God. My dad is 84 years young, I like to say, right? 84 years young. He still lives by himself. He does everything on his own. And he had to have surgery. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry about that. So, my dad is 84 years young, okay, still does everything on his own. And he had to have a procedure done today. He had to have surgery. So I had to be out there to crack of dawn. He had his surgery. Surgery went well, went amazing. He is going to be in the hospital for a few days, but I'm gonna go back and forth to the city, and my dad may actually stay with me a couple days afterwards. So we'll see. We're gonna, see how that goes down. But I'm just so happy that his surgery and his procedure went extremely well. Mims, I see you. Thank you so much. Sheila, I see you. Thank you guys for being here. I'm just like shocked that anybody's here. But when I watched the reunion part two, first of all, you know what? They're pissing me off because they're stealing so much of our time, and these reunions are not living up to the hype. I really thought that the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion was going to bring it. Part two was it was what it was. It was okay, right? It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. It was okay. But when they started to talk about Garcelle's book, I did not even know that there was a second edition. But y'all know how I get in it over here. I get sucked into buying these books, right? So it just so happens, guess what? The Diva has the original book, the book that still had in the part about Lisa Rinna's daughter. So here it is, guys. I have it. I have it. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna read it. It wasn't a long drawn out page. Hey Lisa. Thanks for
Hold on,
coming through.
I'm sorry, my heart all over my head. I was laying down, so I got the notification.
Well, thank you for coming through because it's late. I never come on this late. But
No,
I
you don't.
have the original Garcelle book, the one that did not have it's the first edition. It's not the second edition. So I
Hmm.
actually have the chapter. Well, I'm not even gonna call it a chapter. It's like I have the page that talks about Lisa Rinna's daughter. It's not that deep. I'm gonna read it to y'all and we're gonna talk about it and see what we think. And I also sectioned off the area where she talked about the Bill Cosby situation. Because if you don't know, over here, I support and buy these books. Okay, I still gotta buy Quad's cookbook, and I'm a few books behind, but I do get sucked into the shenanigans. But let's get into it and let's talk about this reunion a little bit, and then I'm gonna read these couple of pages to y'all. Okay, so it started out, this is the nonsense for me, right? Because they wanted to know Diana wants to play victim, right? And so now they're going around talking about, well, which word is harsher, evil or the word cunt? Call you next, see you next Tuesday, right? So to speak, right? So they're going back and forth to figure out, well, which word is harsher? How about this? Words are words, and it don't matter which one stung more, they both stung. So
Hmm.
if you said evil to me or you said see you next Tuesday to me, if it hurt me, it hurt me. It's not, let's do a level now to see which one is worse than the other on a scale of a 1 to 10. It was the shenanigans with that were for me. It was the fact that these ladies was taking Diane aside to act like evil meant more than, them saying cunt to Sutton. It was a whole hot mess. It was just craziness to me. And I was sitting back saying, are they really doing this? Are they really doing this right now? Like, are you really trying to defend the fact that she was called evil and she didn't really call it evil. She said that was evil. If I'm remembering correctly, right? She didn't say, oh, she was so evil for that. She said that was evil. What do you think, Lisa, about that whole playing with the words or which one was worse?
Both of them is bad on each
Right.
occasion. You know what I'm saying? So, But I'm gonna tell you this went down or did say it on the show, and everybody sitting around her. You see, when Diane was talking, did nobody say a darn word because what she was saying they knew to be true. Suddenly come after you when she think you are down. And then and then when you come back at her, her and down are both like suddenly down are both like to play the victim. And I ain't with it. That's why I said both of them go for me. That's what I say. But
Yeah.
both of them is terrible, terrible, and it should not be used because when you call somebody evil, I mean, I mean, evil is up there with the wrong what you want to call somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, call somebody evil, that means they don't have no heart, no soul, nothing. And I
Toria,
want to
what
believe
what do
like
you
you.
think? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lisa.
I really want to believe it's either the worst person out there got some kind of soul, some kind of heart inside their body.
Right. And
Okay.
CST, it right. Garcelle said she thought Diana was being evil. But listen, either way, really though, Toria, what are your thoughts on this whole evil versus see you next Tuesday word?
Well, first of all, I want to say I've been waiting for you. I knew you was going to be late. You told me already, but I'm glad everything worked out with your dad and everything. And I
Thank
was
you.
worried about you this morning because you got on that live with Sherelle outside, and I'm like, no, David, it's dark. Watch what you're doing, because I don't want nobody grab you out there. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Tori.
But
But
I I don't think her calling her saying she was acting evil was as bad as see you next Tuesday. That is a disgusting word that I notice white women use that frequently. You don't hear too many black women using that word, calling somebody that word. And I grew up in an all black neighborhood. I was the lightest thing there. And they never said nothing like that. But they picked on Sutton all season long, all season long. And Sutton says little quirky things and stuff sometimes, but the way they did her, it's wrong, period. And Diana is evil, she nasty, and
I
Renna is
mean,
evil and nasty, and
you
so
got
is Erica. And I believe them three plotted to do everything they did this season to Sutton and Garcelle.
well,
I
they
mean,
had a group.
what
Go ahead,
make you,
Lisa.
huh?
They had a
Go
separate
ahead.
group chat,
Yep.
from everybody. Come on, that's being sneaky. Because usually each show
Well, no,
they
how about
do
this,
have one.
Toria? How about this story? That's being evil. So if
Mm-hmm.
so if we all right here, if all of us are doing a show together, and then just me, Juanita, and Toria have a group chat, and then we have another group chat with Lisa. So she's thinking that's the only group chat, but meantime, us three, we got another side group chat. That's being
Right.
evil. When you
That,
Yeah.
working with somebody and you want to look in their face every day or however many days or however many hours, when you want to play it off like the chat that we have is the only chat, and there's a separate chat that's evil, that's messy, that's low, and it's dirty. Okay,
exactly.
it,
Yeah.
Hi,
it,
Miss
it
Juanita.
yes,
Hi, Toria. I enjoyed your Sherelle show. But anyway, we
Oh,
on
hey
Diva
today.
show now.
Juanita,
Hey, Diva.
Oh,
How you doing?
I was really upset, but
yeah.
thank you.
So, what did you think about this play? I'm playing with the words evil. See you next Tuesday. Which one was worse? I don't think it matters, in my opinion. I think if you hurt,
Mm-mm.
I think even if somebody call you stupid, if you hurt, it doesn't matter if you don't feel that that's not a big word that should really hurt like that.
You
If you
know,
hurt the person, you hurt the person. Go ahead, Juanita.
that's a bunch of bull crap. And
Mm-hmm.
that's some of the 4th 5 miss. Now, if anybody else had called one of them, "I'll see you next Tuesday," versus calling them evil, they would have jumped all on if Garcelle had said it. So, I'm not falling for it. It's just a bunch of crap.
But they didn't
It's
call
a
it
bunch
to
of
Garcelle. They
crap.
didn't call Garcelle. They said to Diana. I mean, they said to Sudden. Y'all got him. I'm just saying like to him. I'm like, don't make. I got this from my boy Gore. Can we talk? Or let's talk, sisters. Okay. But you cannot say Sudden have not said some cool stuff to people on their show, and then she come back and she supposed to come back and say, "Well, I'm sorry," and everything supposed to be okay. And lay down and say it this season. No, it's not gonna be okay because I'll be faking, I'll be lying if I told you that I'ma hug you and we cool. Now we not cool because what you said and what you done. We not
But the
cool.
stuff Sutton
Somebody,
said
hold on
be
one
true.
second. Hold on one second, guys. Somebody has feedback. Lisa, is that you?
Hello, hello.
I didn't hear it just now. I was hearing it before. You should be okay now. But right now, I'm just discussing how Sutton is Sutton, right? We could get into Sutton in a minute. She's going to have her moment. But right now, I'm discussing how Diana just had a thing for Garcelle. Okay,
Yes, most
point blank,
definitely.
period. So because she had a thing for Garcelle, she wants to act as if Garcelle saying the word evil was the end all be all. Girl, people said worse to you on this show. Like, are you kidding me right now? So because Garcelle said evil, now you want to say get everybody on your side and act like that's the worst word to be called ever. Okay. And then even stuff that came out of Sutton's mouth, Diana wanted to blame it on Garcelle. That's
Right.
why at the end of
Exactly.
the day, Garcelle was like, you know what? Why are we talking to her? I'm done. I'm
Exactly.
done. There's no need to talk to her because literally everything I say or not
Got a
say,
problem with
she's
it.
gonna blame. Right,
Gonna have
she's
a
gonna
problem with
blame
it.
it on me. And to say to Garcelle, listen, even if you're not on the show, you got a group of friends and you having a beef with one of the people in the group, and then all of a sudden something happens to you or one of your kids or whatever, the first person you're going to think of is the person that you having an issue with in your friend group, right? That
Mm.
probably they might have done it. So for Diana to act or like Garcelle was just plucking something out of the blue, like, oh my God, why would you think any one of us here would do that to your son? Because y'all done worse to me.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
so why would I not think so? Y'all throw my book in the garbage. Y'all
Exactly.
had a separate side text laughing about it. But now when something happens to my son, I'm supposed to think, oh no, it's just someone out of the blue who did this. Come on now. Yeah, exactly. Pay Diana dust. I'm trying to tell you, that was just you. This whole part 2 was messy,
It was.
messy. And I felt for Garcelle. Now, y'all know I like to get on Garcelle every now and then, but I felt for Garcelle because every time they panned to her face, you knew
You could see
that
that
she
hurt.
was just she was hurt and
Hmm.
trying to get through the BS and let this thing be over and she collect her check and go home. It was a
And
mess.
Andy made me sick too. Some of the stuff he could have, he could have did better. When it came to Garcelle.
He punked out
I
though.
think
Go
so
ahead, Toya.
too, Miss Juanita. I think so too. And I'm tired of Dirty Diana. You know, Garcelle saying she was what she done was evil. That didn't bother that rich white lady. Please get out of here. She was so fake. I wished I could have just snatched through my
Okay,
TV and then snatched through that TV screen and just pull her out of it and say, you know you ain't sick. Why you ain't here? You just didn't want to come face the music.
That's what
well,
it
she
was.
right
Cause
there. But you know
it
what?
didn't look like nothing
And
was
this,
wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
also, Garcelle probably told them, "I don't want to be near her." So she probably was in another building on the other side of the building, filming too.
She
I
was
don't think
home. I
so.
think she
No,
punked out herself. I
I
think she
think
she
punked
so
out
too.
herself.
she
I
was
Yeah.
think so
home.
too. Because she looked too glammed up for somebody who've had COVID. When I
Yeah.
had COVID, I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't want no makeup. I didn't want nobody. I didn't want to do nothing. All I wanted to do was lay down. So she just told a lie.
Yeah, Trina said I feel like they was trying to gaslight Garcelle. Oh,
Oh,
100%.
most
And
definitely.
see, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with Andy for me. When Andy wants to save somebody, he saves that person. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
let's be clear. He saved Giselle. That year with Monique was still on it, and she had
Yep.
all the evidence about Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Andy, to me, he is not. I don't think it's a color thing with him. I think it's a who he wants to save thing, right? He saved Marlo because he allowed Marlo to sit next to him, talk about her childhood, and pretty much use that as an excuse as to why she acted a fool the whole season,
Yep.
because he didn't want to let her go. So Andy has a pattern. When he wants to save you, he's going to save you. If he doesn't want to save you and he wants to throw you under the bus, he's going to throw you under the bus. He's going to ride the bus over you, and then he's going to get the other ladies to help drive it home. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I see Andy. He
I
was
mean,
messy, and last night they was super messy to Garcelle. Go ahead, Tori. I'm sorry.
And it just, I agree with what Flip said earlier in the comment about I'm sick of all this microaggression against Garcelle because they are pulling that stuff. And I'm sorry, but I believe Rinna is a racist. Her husband wore that Nazi stuff, and they've been doing that for a long time. And Diana ain't got, Elton John cut her loose, so he ain't messing with her no more. I don't know what happened there, but
the way she acted
when
on the show.
Andy switched up, and I didn't think he gave Garcelle her due. He started talking about recycling and like
Right.
cackling and stuff,
Right.
and that really made me mad.
That pissed
I'm
me
like,
off too.
why he do that to Garcelle? I mean, I just don't like how we all know he has his favorites, but I don't like how he does things sometimes. And he, to me, he let Runner off the hook, but we'll get to that when we get to
We'll,
that
we'll,
part.
we'll get to that. But wait, yes, yes. Say less. Garcelle was fuming over the disrespect. I felt it through the screen,
It
and
was a lot.
every time they panned towards her face, I mean, I literally felt her pain. They was playing her out. But you know what? I will give it this class act. She handled it well.
He
So,
held it.
Diana had the nerve to say that she was mad at Garcelle, because what she said, and that Garcelle thought that somebody in the group, did that thing to her beautiful, precious Jax. And Diana's gonna find out because she put out
Oh,
lawsuit out against John Doe and the whatever the box. Diana, stop.
that's a bunch
Diana,
of
But,
stop.
crap.
And
this is
did you hear
this
the
is my
slickness
thing.
out of her mouth though? Well, hold on one second. Did you hear the slickness out of Diana's mouth? I caught it. She was like, "I have the money." She said,
Exactly.
"Girl,
I was gonna get to that. It was
I
almost
swear
like saying Garcelle couldn't afford it.
yeah,
She was almost
that
like saying, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
you don't have
That's what
enough
it was,
money."
Miss Juanita. I heard that slick remark. That's why I
Yeah,
said I
like
wanted to reach my hand through the TV and just snatch her out of that TV.
I mean,
if
but
if
hold
my
on.
TV didn't
Okay.
cost so much, Tori, I would have threw something at it.
I mean, this is my thing right here, and I'm. That's what I'm gonna play deaf after. This play deaf. That's a little bit deaf African for Diana, but that is a big accusation when you say I'm going after your child. That's a big one because
Who said?
see if
Who?
I was Garcelle, I have the police turn on it. You know what I'm saying? And I have a butt shot because then you going after a minor. You ain't going out there, you go after a minor, and I would have authorities to charge her with child endangerment because
well, you
that's
gotta prove who did it first, though, Lisa. You
huh?
Gotta get
you
the
you you
proof who
can't go
did
to
it.
the cops and be speculating. They ain't got time for all that.
I'm just saying if you think it's her, I mean that's a big accusation to say that you
See,
going
it's
after my
hard. It's hard to prove that, Lisa, because you have to get a cybersecurity person, number one, and
Exactly.
it is so many troll farms that bloggers can and people can hire now. These stars can hire. You can hire a troll farm to build up your subscribers to 1 million subscribers, and you just have to pay them a certain fee every month so that they keep that amount of subscribers. And YouTube does not have the money to It's so many YouTube channels to hire people to check every single blogger's page to see who's real as a subscriber and who's fake. And this has been going on for years. Way before I even got on YouTube, I used to read all these stories about um, these troll farms and stuff. And a lot of them are in Russia, Africa, Thailand, Indonesia. And
Yeah, the thing is though, I think the main point. Hold on one second, sorry. I think the main point is that Andy asked her. She didn't just come out and say, "Oh, it was Diana, it was this one or that one." Andy asked her
right,
the question, "Do you think it was anyone here?" or something like that. And that's when she said, "Yes, I do think it was ba 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 ba." So it's not like Garcelle just came out and said, "Oh, for sure, y'all doing this and running her mouth." Like Garcelle also said, she said, "I don't talk about none of y'all on social media."
Mm-hmm.
she
So,
don't.
so, and Diana was pretty much now what she could do is because Diana was harassing her on social media almost, right? But kept talking
Exactly.
about her, coming for her, and going after her, right? I wish I could come through the TV to support Garcelle, but she held it together well.
Now
Bravo to
that's something.
Garcelle.
That's something I didn't like. That's something that I can say that is was proven that Diana was going after her, and I want to know reason why too. Why are you going? I think I'm an inbox her.
You
I
know,
said,
she
why
Wait,
you
said,
wait,
keep going
hold
on
on
the
one
black
second.
on the
Hold
black?
on one
Let me
second,
tell you
guys.
one thing.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hi, bye. You know what? You know what? You are correct. Diana was saying she has the money to prevent Garcelle from finding out who paid for the box. That part right there. That part right
Exactly.
there.
Yep.
Yes, you are correct. Go
mm,
ahead. I'm sorry. Who did I stop? I'm apologize. I
Lisa, I
wouldn't
mean,
do that.
that's what
Lisa.
I'm just saying for myself. That was like the lowest point when she said, like, no, you keep going after her. And I said, for me, I think after I get out this live, I think I am gonna contact Diana through Twitter and Instagram. I want to know why you keep going after the only black woman is in the group of the Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. I want to know.
Don't do it, Lisa. Don't go over there messing with that white lady because that white lady, she has money, so much
mm-hmm.
money. Don't mess with that lady because we don't want nobody coming after you because then I'm going to have to make a trip to your state and get you out of there.
Girl, I ain't worrying about nobody. Girl,
Okay,
I'm
let's
raising
hold on,
the head.
hold on.
I'm
Let's
raising
carry on.
head.
Hold on one second, Lisa. Lisa, I think Garcelle handled herself well. You don't gotta go to Diana. Diana is who she is, and it's gonna be okay because Garcelle got it under control. But I do believe wholeheartedly. I forgot who wrote the comment. That's why Diana is involved because she's gonna make sure that Garcelle will never be able to find out who truly did this. Yes,
but
Andy
but
tried
get
to
but
go
guess
ahead.
what?
Yes.
If Kathy and Lisa Vanderpump is on her side and help her, that's a double force against Diana.
Oh, that's right. That's right, Miss Juanita, because they sure are for her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they mad at Garcelle too, because she was with LVP. And what amazes me is they're still so threatened by Lisa Vanderpump.
Mm-hmm. And if Lisa and Kathy pull together with Garcelle, oh, Diana is done.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. They went on break, right? Erica and Lisa are talking, and they're mad at Garcelle. That they saying they mad at Garcelle because Garcelle thought that the group did what they did. Now come on, they those two are they make me sick too. Then Garcelle and Sutton was talking, and Garcelle did really great. And then Garcelle says she won't stop until she find out, who the bots were that pretty much, did this to her family, and I don't blame her. Dorit and Kyle talk, and this is another person that just won't let go of being on somebody's back. Kyle is on Crystal's behind like nobody's business. I don't understand why Kyle is so evil. Now they got me using this word, okay? Why is Kyle so evil to Crystal? I mean, she just won't let up off of Crystal.
Mm-mm.
And although Crystal cannot formulate and verbalize her words all the time, it doesn't mean that Crystal doesn't have a point. I think Crystal's point hit the nail on the head towards the end when they was talking with Garcelle and how Garcelle and Kyle kind of had a misunderstanding. But again, Andy jumps in because he says who he wants to save.
Yep.
Andy jumped in and act as if again Crystal was just talking off the side of her neck.
Yep.
But I don't get why Kyle is just so mean to Crystal. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
get it. Go ahead.
you're right, Diva, and especially because she threw Sutton under the bus how many times? Every time she went back to the group and repeated that when she told Sutton about the robbery, she repeated to the group that Sutton talked about the designer. Everything that Sutton said or did and Kyle knew about it, she went back to the group and repeated it and brought it all up and started it.
That's so true.
So
That's
why
so
is she
true.
gonna attack Crystal about what Crystal said about Sutton now? Don't act like you trying to protect Sutton because you ain't Sutton's friend, Kyle. You ain't a friend of nobody but your own self.
Her own
You,
soul, not
you
even her
They
sister.
pretty
But
much like
listen,
not
them
her
14
sisters.
queens.
Only thing
right.
she care about is herself and Mauricio. And I don't even think she care about him. I think she just care about the money so she can keep buying all the stuff she buy.
Wait,
I
hold on a
mean, and
second.
to me, y'all
Pig
gotta
dog.
remember. Okay,
Pig
this
dog.
is
I agree with you. She wants Teddy to take Crystal's place. Now I
Yep, yep.
understand.
Ted
Okay,
ain't
I can.
Ted ain't coming back. Man,
Huh?
Ted ain't coming back because Ted was boring and off the thing. She thought she was better than anybody else. So ain't nobody got time for Ted to sit over there sit over by dumb self. Because I didn't like Ted. I just couldn't understand Ted. Because every time
Teddy's a
somebody got a
mosquito
cow
that
thing,
I
every
swat
time
at.
somebody say something about cow, Ted will jump in and kind of be like, I'm for real. I'm for real. When Ted first came on the show, I bet she came through somebody else. She started getting close to Kyle. You know what I'm saying? She was all up cow tail and butt crack, okay? And we don't need that. We don't need nobody to be all up in cow tail and butt crack. We need somebody to come out the cow and tell cow what time it is. And also, I really do believe I believe them 14 friends. Them
Wait,
just 14
hold
friends.
on one second, Lisa. Hold on one second. Who said Kate Andy doesn't like Crystal? You know what? You're probably right. I
Uh-huh.
didn't catch it, but you're probably absolutely right. I mean, because they know what nobody cut Crystal any slack, Garcelle or Sutton. That you could tell that it was split down the line where the alliance was. Crystal said she felt uncomfortable with Sutton. She didn't use the correct words. She did not use the correct words at all. But I also believe common sense and everybody else, but these are just my thoughts. I truly believe that Sutton, because we know Sutton is very awkward with her words, right?
Uh-huh.
But we know that now. And I think that Sutton did say some problematic words at the time because Sutton slips out her mouth with some crazy stuff, right? And so I think she did say some problematic words, but at the time she said it, I'm getting feedback from somebody. Did you hear? Okay, I, I'm still hearing it. Can everybody mute for a second? I don't know where the feedback is coming from. Okay, I don't hear it now. So I think that at the time that Sutton said whatever she said to Crystal, Crystal didn't know her that well and know that Sutton fumbles with her words. So she took it the way she took it. And then later on, when Crystal got to know Sutton, she was like, okay, she probably thought to herself, Sutton is not good with her words. So now I don't think what Sutton said was so dark because even Sutton herself, she didn't really go after Crystal the way you would think she would have went after Crystal for the way that she claimed Crystal said this whole darkness situation about her. Because Sutton kept going after Lisa, so why didn't she give that same energy to Crystal? Just my thought in my head. Sutton did say something. I'm not saying that it had to be racist, but she said something that was a little problematic. And Crystal was being kind enough not to keep, letting that narrative spin out. So Crystal took the hit. Gio said, I'm with you, Diva. I think Sutton did say something crazy. She looks uncomfortable and gets quiet when they discuss it and it's what she like. Somebody not being on mute is giving me feedback. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if it's just me. Okay, yeah, Crystal is super sensitive. Yes. So I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything about that. Yeah, Common Sense says, yeah, I bet dollars to donuts. She says some words that raise some eyebrows. I really
I
do feel
do.
that way.
I've been told you this, then I've been told to everybody else that she said something because by the time they was filming Salt Lake City and that girl and Jenny. I'm gonna tell you something. The people at Bravo and the producers of the Real Housewife franchise, they don't want to deal with this mess. They don't want to deal with the racism
They
and
don't, but Lisa, hold on one second. The feedback is coming from you. Can you do me a favor? Go out and come back in. Yeah, the feedback is coming from you.
You know what it was, Diva?
What?
When her and Sutton was talking, she said to Sutton, my daughter was in a hot tub or a pool or something with
No,
uh,
I remember that
a black
scene.
girl, an Asian girl, but she didn't say Asian. I don't know if she said something. And Crystal didn't like that. She thinks by her saying the colors and stuff, and she wants to be called something else. I don't know if she wants to be called Chinese, Asian, or whatever, but she didn't like the way she thought that was racist, her talking about them in their hot tub that way. And
Yeah, but
then she just tried to make it
they
worse.
brought that up though, Toria. Somebody's still giving feedback. They
Hmm.
brought that up. Yes, I'm still getting it. I don't know why.
Lisa came back up. Might
Yeah.
be her fan.
I was muted. I'm muted.
Mute for a minute, Toria. Okay. See, now I don't hear it, but I don't know who's giving it. But I know what scene you're talking about, Tori. And my thing is though, that was brought up, and it was still after that. Crystal insisted that it was something else. I think it is what it is, but I think that Sutton to me didn't, she didn't go hard enough. That's why I was just like, I felt like something more was there. But Colin
like
doesn't.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
like I was saying, Diva. This stuff right here, I believe it was more said, and I really do believe that they edited some of it out. But like I be telling people, you forget this is they were when they was filming this stuff about Jenny at Salt Lake City had came out, and like I say, these people, the executive producers and the producers of these franchises, they don't want to hear about any. They don't want to deal with this stuff. All they want to see is rich, spoiled women go around with the nonchalant problems and just be a little bit dramatic for a TV show. They don't want to deal with that. And I would, like I have, you know, have always told you. I believe she said something else, and they just cut it out. And I really do believe now did Crystal miss up her words? Because sometimes I miss up my words too, because I can't figure out what the right words to come out with. You know what I'm saying? So do I believe Crystal was use her words wrong? Yes, she did. She really did. But I'm not gonna. I'm like I said. I'm not putting the past. I'm not putting the past Sudden. Sudden ain't gonna get no past on for me because but don't you remember how her daughter Asian friend came out and said I had to stop being friends with my with one of my friends. Mom is now is on a reality TV show, and I had to stop being friends because her mom was a racist.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Steve, and then you can drop me because
Yes.
my internet kind of act crazy and all.
Okay.
It was despicable what was done to Garcelle. Definitely, I think they are targeting Garcelle. I think they don't like the Crystal and Sutton. If you're not in that Force Five group, that's it. And I hope a lot of people. I don't really think And is going to get rid of Rinna. I think he's going to bring her back.
Oh, I think so too because but I think it's a money thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we could definitely get into that. I really think he's trying to find some way somehow to squeeze her back into this
back in.
scenario
Mm-hmm.
because he feels that what is this show going to be without her and the shenanigans and the drama that she
But you
brings.
know what? I wish he'd
Mhm.
bring Lisa back. I wish he'd bring Lisa back in there at least one episode. And that's all I gotta say. Well, look, I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. And
Baby,
You
have
do
a
the
good night,
same.
guys. You have a
I'll
beautiful
be
week,
I'll
okay?
be up in here.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Love you
Uh,
Bye.
too,
um,
Miss
Good night,
Juanita.
y'all. Good
Good
night,
night.
okay. Good
people.
night.
Bye bye.
Okay. So who said Kate? You know what? And I totally understand it, right? I think when it's time to have race related conversations, it is never easy. It's never easy at all because people. The only way we're going to learn is to have conversations. But I think the conversations get so heated, and I also think that a lot of times when we have conversations, instead of people focusing on the situation in the words, they begin to start to attack an actual person that's saying the words, right? So I do understand that and I get it, but some way somehow we got to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable and having a conversation so that we can all kind of learn from each other, right? So let's move on to this whole Kyle, Dorit, and Mauricio and situation, okay? I do not believe, and I could be dead wrong, I do not believe at all for 2.2 seconds that Dorit and Mauricio had anything going. I think everything between the couples are innocent. I think that people get so crazy about when you show affection as a group. I think it is okay. Like if you're friends with the couple that you're all kind of just love each other. And I'm not talking about loving each other in any crazy old kind of way. I thought the hug at the after the robbery situation when they all was at Cow House, I just thought it was so innocent, and it's crazy how it blew up to be this big thing. PK, when the husbands was asked, when they asked each other, who would you want outside of your wife, and PK said Erica. I mean, it's not a surprise. Let's do this, right? Erica is who she is, but when she glams up, Erica is a beautiful woman. At least that's my opinion. Mauricio said Renna. That was shocking to me because out of all the ladies, to say Renna, I mean, I don't see that. But hey, it is what it is. And then when Erica gave that story about how she met PK before he even met Dorit, I think she said London or whatever. And she said London, and he asked her, and I guess somebody else she was with, if she was a porn star. I'm like,
A
okay, that's
stripper.
crazy.
That
Lisa, I
was
think it's definitely you giving the feedback. Unless Tori, are you unmuted or unmuted? Okay, go ahead, Tori. Did you want to say something? Tori,
um
go ahead.
that was PK's brother was with him, and
Okay.
she said his brother's name, and he asked her, was she a stripper or a porn star?
Mm-hmm.
And look at Erica. If you see Erica with her boobs all out and the way she dresses and go to England because he lived there. I believe she looks like a stripper or a porn star. She could be in the movies, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's doing some soft porn right now to make ends meet. But I was shocked at Mauricio for saying Brenna. Oh my God. How could they be two different women, Kyle and Renna? Their body types, Renna looks like a skeleton to me with them pufferfish lips.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Tori, if they saying it's you giving the feedback, it must be. I'm hearing it now.
Let me
Um,
go out. Let me go
yeah,
out and come back in. But I
go,
okay.
yeah, go out and come back in. Okay, Lisa, go ahead. What do you have to say about the whole Kyle, Mauricio?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay. You women, get your, I ain't playing with that mental, please. Okay. It's just like the same thing. People talking about Chris was involved. Chris said he loves Giselle and all this rest of this mess and I ain't falling for that stuff. Do I believe Derek want Maurice? No, I do not believe nothing happened there. I believe all of them just friends, just like you said. Now I'm gonna tell you something now. Why would he not be attracted to Elk? Elk is a very attractive woman at a certain age. She had even at the age she is, she's a very beautiful woman. She get all glammed up. But you forgot, PK seen her Kit Kat.
Yeah,
Why
he
would he
made
not
her
be
to avoid
attracted to her? I
teenagers.
mean, he seen the Kit Kat. You know, he seen the Kit Kat. You know, so when you see the, you know, me and you both know, men see the Kit Kat, baby, dog, they want something that Kit Kat. So I'm not surprised that right there. I'm not surprised right there. You know what I'm saying? That he wanted Erica, but other than that, child, they can draw that bridge and get over. Because I don't think nobody over there want nobody over there. Because I don't see no man over there handsome enough to even take my mind away. Not even. I remember when Kyle Hudson first came on, I was attracted to Maurice. I thought Mauricio. I thought he was a very good looking man. Oh, I
I think
thought.
he still is. So, but let me get to this thing, right? Where Garcelle and they talk about Garcelle in the book, right? Lisa, can you mute for a minute while I just do this thing? Um, so they talk about Garcelle in the book, right? And I was shocked to find out that Rinna was the one to trash the book in the garbage and it wasn't Erica. And that tells you how thick as thieves Erica and Rinna have been for a long time because Erica took the hit as if it was her all of that time, right? She didn't care. She was okay with that. She took the hit for Rinna. And the fact that Rinna was the one that threw it in the garbage, and Rinna claims she, was pissed off at Garcelle because her and Garcelle made a pact early on that they were not going to do anything with the kids. And Garcelle put the scene that she had with Rinna in her and talking about her daughter in her book. And that's when I found out Garcelle said that, you know what, once lawyers got involved in all of that, they decided to make a second edition of the book, take that particular item out of the book. But lucky me, I got the first edition and I'm going to read it to you in a few minutes. So I got the first edition of the book, right? So they talked about that. The fact that they glossed over that this book was thrown in the garbage. They glossed over the fact that there's a separate chat that excluded, and that's the whole thing Garcelle was talking about the entire time, the exclusion of it all. Do you remember? I don't know if it was last season where she said that I just don't feel like I'm a part of this group, and they was at a dinner table, but it was outside. I can't remember who event that was. But did Team Garcelle, did who do you remember?
I do remember her saying that. I do
Yep.
remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And so she was saying they was acting as if Garcelle was so crazy. Like, we try to include you, but you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't open up. No, Garcelle was right. Y'all got a whole separate group chat, so you're excluding me. So that's where Lisa Renner claims she was pissed off. So Andy wanted to focus on not the fact that this book was thrown in the garbage, not the fact that they had a separate group chat, but the fact that Lisa Renner doesn't recycle and Erica is supposed to be this ride or die because she took the hit the whole time, acting as if it was her that threw the book in the garbage. It was deplorable. And listen, I do understand that Andy has his favorites, but that's why people are saying, and before people were saying to me that, you know what, Andy needs to go as the host. And I wasn't 100% for Andy not being the host of these reunions. But now I get it. And sometimes y'all got to bop me over the head several times before stuff will sink in. And because of what happened to Garcelle last night and that whole book scene, that is the reason why Andy does not need to be the host, because he is not neutral. He did not handle that well, because we needed more to focus on why Rinna would do that, why they had a separate group chat. We needed more from that scene than what they gave us by trying to spin it
and make it seem like a whole big joke. Okay. They did also talk about, I'm gonna let y'all in, give me 1 second. I'm gonna just finish this piece up. They did talk about Garcelle getting her first Birkin. You know what I also like about Garcelle? She is amongst a group of people, whether it's stolen money, truly their money, or them pretending they have money. She's grouped around amongst a group of people that have a lot of cash, right? Live in huge homes, and she's not afraid to share on there that, listen, me buying this Birkin bag, it was a big deal. Okay, me dropping $13,000 and I gotta send kids to college and all of that. Me purchasing a second home, it was a big deal. And so, you know what? I'm going to try my very, very best to look at the things that Garcelle does differently on this show, because I'm seeing what a class act she is, how she has the courage to sit there in front of all these ladies and say, look, this ain't how I lived or was brought up. And for the first time, probably in her particular family, she's getting these things, she's experiencing these things, and it's a big deal to her. Bravo to Garcelle. So she talked about the beach house, how, and if you ever building anything or trying to renovate or whatever, you got to get all these permits, and they got to approve and all that. She talked about the Bill Cosby experience. I'm going to read that part to you from the book. I'm going to read the part from the book about Lisa Rinna, that is deleted because I got it here. That's pretty. Oh, and she also talked about, how Oliver is working for LVP, and they still salty over that. Those ladies are a bunch of somethings, boy. And you know what? I gotta give it to her. To be in that group is a lot, but can I tell you something honestly? If you pluck out a lot of people that are working in corporate America, Target, Walmart, so forth and so on, maybe not on the same exact level, but they're dealing with shenanigans similar to Garcelle. Now, I said enough. Before I read these pages, who would like to make any comments on
I
that particular theme?
I would.
I
Let me
would.
go.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I
Um,
just want. I This
Go
is
ahead.
Team Garcelle, Jennifer.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say real quick that last night it was hard for me to watch that. The
yeah.
way they treated her, it was hard for me to watch. What made it worse was Andy. Andy spent more time talking about the recycling than he did about why would you throw her book in the trash. And you guys have a group chat. I thank God for the cameramen who kept panning on Garcelle's face to let us see the hurt. I wrote Andy a long letter today.
Wow.
I did. And I told him, I said, in so many words, I can't tell you everything I said because the sister went off. I said, if you can, I said, it's sad as a host for you to sit there and not realize that one of your guests is emotional.
Yeah.
If you cannot, I said, you are complicit in microaggressions from this group and racism. And if you cannot identify it or be emotionally in tune to it, then you need to stop hosting, or you need to get a person of color to co-host with you so they can explain to you what's going on. Because you are doing what you are allowing these women to do this. And now we all see firsthand what Nene was talking about, and they all need to get in. All the people of color need to get in together and do a class action lawsuit. Y'all need to have a town hall and some training, because this is unacceptable. And I said, as people of color, and we're watching this and trying to enjoy it, you're putting a bad taste in our mouth. And if this is not who you really are, you need to do something about it. And
I
I understand Garcelle. The thing of it is, we got to keep it 100. Garcelle is the classiest woman on that cast.
mm-hmm.
She's a queen. She handles herself well. She has the patience of Job, because I probably would have punched each one of them in the throat by now.
Yeah,
And
yeah, she did.
and the thing of it is, I understand not wasting their money. What they're mad about is that Garcelle is stand alone on her own, and she still can stand 10 toes down with all of these women that have money from men. and she's
Yeah.
standing 10 toes down. And I would rather spend my money on property than a doggone bag anyway, just to walk around and say you have this bag. That makes no sense. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hold on, Curtis. Give me
Oh
two
my God,
seconds.
my husband.
Um,
Thank you.
I'm gonna let you go. Give me 2 seconds. DJ, I've never seen you before. I'm so sorry. I have been getting people doing disgusting stuff behind backstage. Before I let you up, and I'm the only one that could see, you would have to show me your face. Then you can go back to your avatar and I will let you in. Other than that, I'm sorry because I don't know. I haven't seen you before. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, perfect. You could go back to your avatar then. Thank you.
Trying to say something.
Okay,
I'm so
DJ.
tired
And
of
wait,
you.
Lisa, give me 1 second. Can't just hold on 1 second, Lisa. I'm gonna come to you. Candy, do me a favor. I feel like I do remember you, but again, there you go. Thank you. You could go back to your avatar. All right, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. I'll just say this real quick in case anybody else comes up. Normally, I really don't care because we have so much fun and good conversation over here together. But literally 2 days and like 2 times, someone has been coming backstage and doing something so disgusting and so vile. So I have to check now before people come up. I'm going to go around because I don't want everybody to talk over each other. This is an important conversation. Team Garcelle, I'm so glad you wrote that letter to Andy. Curbs, what would you like to add to the conversation?
Well, oh, hello, Diva. Hello,
Hey.
hello, Chad. Okay. Oh my God. I got things to say. I've been calling out this stuff on the Good Bravo
Hello, daughter.
forever and a day. You know that I
Mhm.
was ready, willing, and able to have this conversation when the rest of the world was also ready, willing, and able to see exactly what the hell Nene been talking about. Exactly
Now
what
you know what, Curves? Here's the thing. I love you and I don't want to go too far off the beaten path. But you know what happens when the wrong person cries wolf, right? So I get it. Nene had a point. Mariah had a point. I do get that. But the unfortunate part with Nene was she allowed it and accepted it when it was beneficial to her. But we won't go down that
Yeah, we
path
don't have to go
today.
all there. I'm
Okay,
just
go
saying
ahead.
that
Go ahead. But go ahead. Yes.
let's just say
Finish up.
that the
Yes.
scene is set. It was a cold winter day.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like Andy has this thing where he loves the entertainment of melanin. He loves it,
mm,
but he doesn't engage it on the same level that he engages the non-melanated because he's non-melanated. So he's not like really relating. So I feel like he's been missing the opportunity for these last 15 years to really listen to what we're saying and really like try to understand when we emote in a way that garners compassion. Okay. Like we're not all fun and games, shucking and jiving. It's not all shade all the time. Garcelle was obviously to anyone with eyes or even feelings. You could feel her. I felt her. I was like, ooh, that looks thick in there. I was wondering what was even edited out, right? But how they had the tissue, they were reaching for tissue in anticipation of Lisa Rinna's tears because they relate to her because they look like her, is my quickest way to get there. You see what I'm saying? So when they
but wait,
see
Kirk, I
Garcelle
want you to
being
continue.
strong,
Hold on 1 second. I don't think it's just that they relate to her because they're like her. I think that they just have a group. They just have a group.
but he does
And
it on
they
other shows too. I'm saying
ha-
like this
right.
is across board his treatment of these situations. And this is just a glaring example because he does also have his favorites on this show. But he reached for tissue in anticipation of tears that weren't there for Rinna. But when Garcelle has tears welling in her eyes, nobody reaches for anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I do.
And it's just sad to watch as a viewer. It's in a really, I don't want to say, it's in a really tight place emotionally for me And I just am sad that it had to play out like this because I want to be entertained. I don't want to be triggered. I don't need to be triggered watching this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
But you know what? Here's the thing. And then I'm a move just to get some other common sense curves, and then I'll come back to you. Here's the thing, though, right? It's is needed to be out there in the open. It's hard because we like Garcelle and she's the sacrificial lamb. But the more these things come out and the more that they're able to be addressed, change can happen, right? So just like Team Garcelle wrote this letter to Andy, we all need to move in not in a nasty way, but we all need to send a letter to Andy, right? To let him know, like, we see you. Now, this Nene stuff, we can only go by Nene's words. We didn't get to hear and see all the evidence because the case was settled, right? But in this particular
it
case,
wasn't
we know
settled.
what we
It's
saw
just
with
dismissed without prejudice. That means she can be
whatever. You understand what I'm saying, right? But what I'm saying is with this, we see with our own eyes what he did
exactly.
to Garcelle.
And
Now,
that's
you
why,
can't tell us that we didn't see what we saw. And
right,
so for
exactly.
us, because we saw it, we need to do like Team Garcelle
Right.
and write our letters. Give me a
Yeah.
minute, Curves.
No
DJ,
worries.
you're in the building. Thanks for being here. What do you want to add to this conversation?
Hold on, Diva.
Yes.
I'm finna go. I love
Okay.
Red Courage, Team Garcelle Tori,
Love you,
Sebastian. I love y'all. I have to go, and I have to go do
Thanks
some
for
more shit.
stopping by. I know I'm late, Lisa. I'll see you
Okay,
next
bye.
time.
Love you,
Bye.
darling. Bye bye.
Okay. Yes, DJ.
Thank you so much. I'm always
You're
seeing Lisa on here. She always has me cracking up too.
welcome.
But really quick, just 2 points. My first is, as it relates to the whole Andy shouldn't be the host thing, I actually kind of disagree with that.
Okay.
And I only disagree because he has been, and particularly for me, I'm a Atlanta OG. I've been watching since 2008 with my grandmother,
Okay.
It's like he's been a fixture of the franchise, not just an individual show, of the franchise for years. And I think he does his job as a host good. He entertains us, he engages in the shade, etc. And I'm a Black person, so I just want to preface that before I say anything about race. What I think we should expect as it relates to race is for the girls or for the actual cast to facilitate some sort of function that has to do with either therapy or maybe some equity or diversity training, because that will change the narrative of the show, not just having a host who knows about Black issues. For example, when they were having issues in Atlanta, remember they went to go see Dr. Jeff a lot. And
Right.
and so I feel like not that Dr. Jeff was perfect, but I feel like a similar setup needs to take place. Andy is a host. He's not a equity or diversity leadership trainer, so we shouldn't expect that from him. We should expect entertainment.
One thing, DJ, I don't mean to cut you off, but what you're saying is what I wrote in the letter. I am a civil rights investigator. And that's what I wrote in the letter, that he needs to have a town hall with everybody in Bravo, and some training need to happen. So I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so hold on.
Side
Hold on
note,
one
they
second.
already had the training, supposedly. Side note.
Yeah, they did. That's what they said, right? Because of all the issues with back to Mariah before Nene and all that. But DJ, let me just throw this in there with you, right? So when you have a supervisor, you expect the supervisor in Target to be able to help the cashier if the cashier gets stuck, right? To be able to help the person that's stocking if they don't know where to stock the Pampers, the this, the that, and the other. Or else the supervisor shouldn't be the supervisor. And then if the supervisor had them in trouble, they should be able to go to the manager. The manager shouldn't be clueless. So I can't host the thing, right? How am I going to host a fashion event, but I don't know nothing about fashion? Then I shouldn't be the host. So what I'm saying, I get what you say with Andy. He got to entertain us, but his job and his responsibility is higher than just entertainment. he has to not only know everything that happened during that season, if he's going to be a good host of a reunion where you're supposed to recap, okay? He needs to know everything. He needs to, like, we sit down when I do these recaps, right? I watch it first just so I can enjoy it. Then I go back and watch it again, and I'm taking my good notes, okay? And then thank God I have people that be like, okay, wait, Diva, you missed this, that, and the other. But I do watch it more than once so that when I come up here, I'm not just talking out the side of my neck, right? I'm coming with what my valid points are. It doesn't mean that they're facts, but it's my valid points. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is with Andy, his responsibility is higher than just I like Erica. Okay. He always, and I'm not saying for me, I'm leaving out the race thing because I have seen him no matter what franchise it is, and the persons are of all different colors. He just have his favorites and he has people that he's going to save. Okay. And so he'll save his favorites for sure. Because I don't think Marlo's one of his favorites, but I think he wanted to save her because he likes the level of drama that she brings to the show. Because again, nobody goes in business not to make money. And at the end of the day, they're doing these reality shows because it's going to rake them into cash and bring them into money. Even if you watch BravoCon, right? And when the ladies came out and he had those shady questions, those ladies was being catty towards each other. I thought it was pretty nasty and dirty. I wasn't in love with it. And that's how Phaedra and the girl from Dubai ended up going at each other, right? Because of a shady question that was asked. I thought it was hecka messy. But so what I'm trying to say is to bring back my point here is that Andy has a higher level responsibility. You got to be neutral when you're hosting that show. And you got to know all the dirt that everybody did. And you got to be ready to pull everybody to the carpet, even if it's your best friend, if you're going to be the host. But if you cannot do that, then you need to step aside and let someone else who's going to know how to get down in the dirt and step to everybody so that the facts can happen, right? So even me, like, when I have supervised, there was people that, were my absolute faves. There were people that I was like, all right, whatever. But guess what? None of them knew. For all of them, I was the same. I was neutral. I had a job to do. And for all they all knew, all of them were my favorites. With Andy, you can sit down and clearly see who he's saving at that reunion, who's his favorite, so forth and so on. So that's why I said he needs to step aside and let somebody else who has the guts to do that job, do it. But go ahead, DJ. I'm sorry.
No. This is perfect dialogue. I just have two quick questions.
Yes.
My first question is, do you think? I guess just based off of what you stated, do you think that that Bravo? Because there's so many, and I ask this just because there's so many times when I watch, I feel like whether it's all black cast or all white cast, or let me start with this. I do think there is a racial issue as it relates to the African-American females that are on Bravo. And just picking up off of what was said about Mariah and Nene, and, sometimes it's the person, not necessarily the issue. Mm-hmm. I think that Bravo has created an odd pattern as to where the African-American women have to, they constantly have to speak up for themselves, or they constantly have to reposition their their perspectives on issues as opposed to the white counterparts. And for me, that does make me have an issue with Andy. But do you think that bringing in a different host would kind of taint the franchise because we're so used to just seeing Andy engage with the women, and the women are just so used to engaging with Andy? I think
it would be a hard. I got what you're saying. It would be a hard transition, but I'm gonna throw this out there, and then I want to just jump to Candy, Sebastian, and Tori, and some others I didn't let speak yet. I'm gonna throw this in this scenario. You know, we're focused on Bravo, but this is a universal thing. We just happen to be privy to seeing it play out on Bravo. Andy is not the end all be all of this problem, okay? Because he doesn't run every single thing, and he's not watching all 90 whatever of these shows on Bravo so that he could be the host and then do Watch What Happens Live and then raise his 2 kids. It's not happening. He's being fed information, okay? And a lot of it that when he really, really knows the heat, a lot of it he gets the heat from social media, and then people are tweeting him, so forth and so on. So what I think is that across the board, and I always like to bring up Target, Walmart, whatever the issue is. This is happening right now in your local Target, Walmart, ShopRite, supermarket, whatever, right? These same exact issues. So I think that though, since they have the opportunity and this is being played out on TV, they have a unique opportunity to take the higher road and to make sure that behind the scenes everyone is educated. But what happens is education can't just come from, oh, you take one class, right? So even me, you can give me a class, you can make me take a class, you can have me sit down with some therapist or whatever the case may be, but I have to have some, inner responsibility myself to want to get to know a different culture, to want to engage with them the proper way, and to want to embrace them and welcome them in. So both parties are going to have to do work. I can educate you 24 hours out the day, but if you're not working with me and doing some homework yourself, it's not going to work. Let me shut up for 2.2 seconds. Candy, you're in the building. What do you want to add to this conversation?
Okay, so the first thing is with the gaslighting with Garcelle.
Mm-hmm.
It was so triggering because I think so many Black women have to deal with that in their everyday life, especially like in a workspace.
Mm-hmm.
So like I live in the South, and I live in the South, and I work in a hospital basically. So I'm always surrounded by white women like that,
Mm-hmm.
that they do something atrocious or do something that's underhanded. A Black person does the same thing, and it's treated completely differently,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so it makes you feel like you're going crazy if you're not sound, or if you don't see it for what it is.
Right.
It will make you go crazy. Number two, I don't think Andy will ever not host the reunions and the shows and all this stuff, because I feel in his mind he feels like he's a housewife too. He's a part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So because most shows you watch, the producer or the creator, you don't see them that often. You know what I'm saying? They just produce, create, and they kind of step back. But he's infused himself in all these different scenarios and shows, and I think he likes the limelight just as much as all the other housewives like the limelight. So I don't think he's ever going anywhere personally.
Candy, let me just throw this in there because we like to have our conversations over here. Mona Scott, she hosted until they ran her out of there. Okay, so the fans pretty much told her like you need somebody else to host. Okay, so a lot of these reality TV show creators, they create the project and then they do host. Okay, Mona Scott did it. Carlos King is doing it. There's somebody else, I can't think of the name right now, it just slipped my mind, but they typically, for these reality shows, they're so close knit to them, some of them, that yes, they do become the host, and then they get too intertwined into the show, and it's almost like they're part of the show too, because Carlos stands out too.
But the thing is, even though that's true and they all step back, I don't think Andy sees the need to step back, or no one's telling him he needs to step back.
100%, you are correct. They're not.
And then the third thing is, even though I don't feel Andy will ever change, I don't think he's going to change the way he does his interview. He's always going to have his favorites. There's always going to be a tinge of bias against Black people. But I think in the long run, Garcelle is going to win. He's going to make Garcelle his favorite, so he can say, you see, I like Black people. You see what I'm doing? Because if you think about one more thing, if you think about it, Candy, she get that big paycheck. She's the most uninteresting person on the show. But you can always say, like, as bad as Nene was probably treated, And as bad as much bias as he's had towards certain people, he can always say, "Oh, look how I treated Candy. Look at that big paycheck I've given her." You know,
But
and I think he's gonna do Garcelle the same way.
Right. No, but Candy, see, here's the thing, right? If we're gonna have these conversations, and this is just me, and y'all, and listen, y'all, I don't get sensitive. Y'all could come back at me. We gotta keep it 100. Atlanta at one time was the number one out of all the housewife shows before they fell off the wagon, right? And we can't just blanketly do this, it's a black white thing. Because when Atlanta was number one, all of those ladies, like you can go back and look this up. This is facts. This is not me just making this up. All of those ladies was making more money than any other one of the franchises. All of them. And that's just 100% facts. Nene, for the longest time, and I'm talking over Beverly Hills, I'm talking over Potomac, I'm talking over all of them. Nene was one of the number one paid housewives. So we can't just say that, he plucks and picks. Andy is the type of person, if you're making him money, then you're his favorite. Point blank, period.
But
He's going to keep you. He's going to pay you. Go
But
ahead.
do you think Candy's really contributing that much to make as much money as she got for this season?
I don't want, we can go back. You know what? Let me get through some of this other stuff and then I'll come back to Candy.
But
I'm
what
not
have you
mad at
done?
Candy and her paycheck. I'm
No,
not mad at Candy and her paycheck.
but my thing is, to me, I think he really paid her that much to say it might not have been a conscious thing, but he probably paid her that much because of the whole Nene situation. Because
No,
Nene was
no.
on him. Nene was spreading that rumor, or not, maybe not even a rumor, but putting it out there how bad he was treating certain people. And now all of a sudden he can say, I'll give Candy a lot of money, so I can say, I don't treat people like this. I treat people.
But Candy, before Nene started talking that, Nene got 2 point something million. She was getting 2 point something million before she started talking about that. We'll come back to it. You can Google it. I promise you this.
And
I promise you that Nene was getting paid out of her behind before she fell out with Bravo.
But
she was getting money.
Okay, but the thing is, she probably deserved it. But the thing is, this Candy deserved $2 million now. I'm
gonna say yes, but hold on, Curves. I'm gonna come to you, but I gotta let Sebastian in the conversation. Sebastian, what do you want to add to this conversation?
Hey everyone, how are you guys tonight?
Hi,
Sebastian.
The first thing I want to add is that I find it very disrespectful how the women treat Garcelle, how they have a separate group chat where they have their little chit chats and hate each. It's just very disrespectful. Andy, his time is up. The questions that people want to hear be asked, he doesn't ask them. What needs to happen is Bravo needs to transition to a live reunion, a reunion in live, and where we would have the Bravoholics literally type in this question and automatic computer thing would generate, okay, this person typed in this question. For example, Sebastian from New York typed in, hey, Erica, how are your legal things going on? That's how it needs to be. We're in the modern world now. Reality TV needs to be live and direct. It cannot be pre-recorded and pre-produced and edited. That is called scripted TV. If I wanted scripted TV, I would not be on reality TV. I would have looked at other things. Another thing is, you said the girl from Dubai and Phaedra. First of all, Diva, I love you, Diva, but she's not the girl from Dubai. You got to really make sure you call her by her name. Her name is Chanel Ayan. It's not Bill Chanel Ayan. Second of all, Candy does deserve her $2 million. She has seniority on that show. She's been on
Hello.
that show for years now. She's the longest reigning housewife. Give it up for Candy.
Give
Okay.
it up for Candy.
Tamra could have beat Candy, but Candy put her on pause. But Candy got it. Okay, let's give it up for.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Toria, did you want to add anything? Then I'll go back to you, Curves, and then I'm gonna read this Bill Cosby thing out the book. And another one. Kenny is getting paid 2.5 for Roa, then another 2 million for the old game people, the old people game. Thank you. Thank you, Freddie. And listen, I ain't mad. Candy, get your check. Go ahead, Toria. Did you want to add anything?
Um, well, first of all, Andy ain't deciding their paychecks, and Universal owns Bravo. And you remember when all that stuff happened with the Salt Lake City girls, and then the thing with Nene, all that racist stuff was, and then New York happened, and all that stuff happened. Universal was putting a pause on Andy. You didn't see that many. You wasn't seeing like no Watch What Happened Live for quite some time. He was like missing in action for a couple months. Him and Cooper was just running all around because Universal was trying to decide if Andy was going to come back and continue doing Watch What Happens Live and hosting the reunions. Andy's even said on his radio show, it's going to be a time that, he's going to step down because he wants to focus on the two little kids while they're little because the nannies have them all the time. But anyway, we can go on and read the stuff in the book, Diva. And I
Okay,
love
let me
you,
read this real
Sebastian.
quick. Yes. Okay, so let me just talk about this is a scene. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's late, y'all, but I'm going to get this little piece out. This is a piece, and I have the original copy, right? And it's page 116 in the original copy. And she says, on one particularly memorable day, I got a call from my agency saying that Bill Cosby wanted to have my phone number. To a young Black girl in the 1980s, that was a huge deal because he was one of the biggest celebrities and idols in Black pop culture. As a matter of fact, who didn't grow up knowing who Bill Cosby was, regardless of their background? Without even hesitating, I said yes, and my number was forwarded to him. Shortly after that, I got a small part on his hit sitcom, The Cosby Show. I was ecstatic. I played the nurse of Theo Huxtable's teacher, played by Sonia, when she was having a baby. I told you this, it was a small part. After rehearsals one evening, we got invited to accompany Mr. Cosby in his limo to meet up with a friend at a Park Avenue hotel. Upon arriving at the hotel, we entered a private elevator to the penthouse suite. When the elevator door was finally opened, my surprise, the famous entertainer, singer, and comedian Sammy Davis Jr. was there waiting. I had to do everything to keep my jaw from hitting the floor. Flash forward, we were all casually sitting around in the living room talking and laughing as if we were all long lost friends. As they traded funny stories about personal encounters, I couldn't help but hear the old Sesame Street lyrics. One of these things is not like the other, playing on repeat in my head. That thing or person rather was me. So see, just this gives you an idea of how Garcelle always kind of felt like she didn't really deserve a seat at the table, right? This was surreal. In my childhood mind, I was screaming that I was not worthy to be in the presence of such greatness. Who the hell did I think I was? The next time Mr. Cosby invited me to his house was because he said he wanted to talk to me about going to college. His position was that he didn't want me to have to rely on modeling as a long-term career. He also mentioned that he planned to run through a couple of scenes with me when I got there. When I arrived at his impressive townhouse on the Upper East Side, I only saw Mr. Cosby. After a bit of time passed, I developed a nagging feeling that there was someone else in the house. Not for nothing with that piece right there. I'm going to say this. All the ladies that accuse Bill Cosby of what they accuse him of, They claimed, now I'm not saying this is true, y'all. I'm just throwing this out there because of the words she said here. They claimed that they felt a lot of times that Camille Cosby was there in the house, but just didn't come out of a certain room or whatever, right? She said, where was I? After a bit of time passed, I developed a nagging feeling that there was someone else in the house. Shrugging it off, I quickly decided that it was maybe a bit, just a butler, chef, or someone else who worked for him. I don't know why it bothered me, but I let it slide. Mr. Cosby asked me if I wanted a drink, and this is the part that she told on the reunion. Who said, Kate, thanks for becoming a member. I truly appreciate it. She said, Mr. Cosby asked me if I wanted a drink. And for the first time, I tried the famous, what is that? She said, Sambuca. I can't remember if it had the coffee beans in it, but instantly I felt like a grown-up. Here I was having a grown-up power meeting all by myself with a Hollywood icon. I truly arrived. Taking a sip of the exotic concoction, I knew immediately I did not like it one bit. I have to admit, at the time, I wasn't a drinker at all. She said, hell, I wasn't even of drinking age. On top of that, the nagging inner voice started to get louder and harder to avoid. I started to feel very uncomfortable for some reason. I don't know why, but something didn't feel quite right. I immediately made up an excuse and ran out of the townhouse like a bat out of hell. I was running from an unknown entity, and my sense of discomfort was all that jet fuel I needed. I never saw Mr. Cosby again. He called. I never replied. If I recall correctly, it was the following week that he had his I Love My Wife party. She said, how quaint. So listen, that was the piece in the book, where she talked about Bill Cosby. I'm going to go real quick so we can discuss this all at the same time to the piece in the book that she cut out the second edition, but I happen to have the first edition where she talked about the situation with her and Lisa Rinna. And from me, but we'll talk about it after I read it. I didn't think it was, I understand Lisa Rinna's point because they made an agreement, not the kids, but at the same time, I didn't think it was that harsh, but Lisa Rinna did, and I get it, right? So she said, one dust up came when I simply asked Lisa Rinna, whom I'd known for years, if she thought that dancing in her underwear on social media had an effect of her daughter's struggles with food. From the bottom of my heart, she said, I was not trying to blame or shame her. It was just an innocent question out of concern. I even began the question referring to my own struggles with my son Oliver and the knowledge that I believe some of my actions impacted him. It was a heartfelt mom-to-mom sort of question, not meant to body shame anyone. Well, clearly, there was a nerve struck because it ended up with a very direct, the public, she said, and excuse me, guys, but this is what she wrote, fuck off. She said a few days later from her daughter, she said, I would have respected Lisa delivering the message herself more. This was like high school all over again. And the mean girls were enjoying their second lap around the track. Seriously, as women, we can do better. We have such a platform and we are all smart, accomplished women. We can do better. We must do better. Nonetheless, if the season was difficult, the first reunion was torturous. I'm not going to lie. I felt attacked. It was one thing to watch it as a spectator and another to be a target. So if she felt that reunion was terrible, I could only imagine what she's feeling about this one now. She said, I was caught off guard by how venomous these ladies, especially in this setting, could be. I had seen them claw and scratch at Denise Richard all season for something that she may or may not have done in her own private life. Denise had been a longtime friend of mine way before I decided to come on the show. We have known each other for more than 20 years, and I trusted her in her character. Look, I'm not naive enough to vouch 100% for someone else's actions, not even a longtime friends. It's also not my style to torture them over their personal decisions. At the end of the day, we're all grown people and allowed to do as we please. But I discovered that some of these women use the concept of honesty as a weapon. They hide behind the word and pretend to seek it to create drama. I'm not bashing my co-stars, she said, but I won't sugarcoat what is painfully obvious to viewing audience either. there's that damn honesty again. So listen, Renna even doesn't. Renna does not. Renna even does the Amazon try it before you buy it. I think that Brenna even does the Amazon. I'm trying. I guess I'm reading that wrong. But either way, I lucked up. I bought the book before they took that piece out. But in this book, you kind of could tell that Garcelle, she's going through it with these ladies. It's rough for her, and she knows that they're vultures. And I can't even imagine what she's feeling this season about the reunion. When that reunion she felt attacked. Who wanted to
But
chime in?
Diva,
Yes.
what I don't get is why was it up to Lisa Renna to tell Garcelle that she didn't want that in the book and have some lawyer call her when her daughter is a grown woman? She could have spoke for herself. She don't live at home. They live on their own. They're grown. So that should have been between Garcelle and the daughter. And if the daughter didn't call Garcelle, I wouldn't have did it.
No,
I
but
wouldn't
if you heard what I read, Garcelle said she would have preferred that Lisa spoke to her, because when that actually happened on the show, the daughter went into this whole social media war with Garcelle. So here's the thing.
Oh yeah,
The thing we
it
gotta do.
wasn't. It was
Go
the
ahead.
other daughter, but see, I'm talking about the book part. She just told something that happened, you know, which she told her about. It wasn't like she talked bad about the daughter. Oh, her eating disorder is so bad and she needs to get help, and she's been crying to her mother online. She didn't do none of that. She just put one little sentence in there.
But
I'm glad you
here's the
got
thing.
that book. I'm
Yeah,
glad you
yeah.
got that book.
I got it. I got to get Quad's book too. But listen, here's the thing, though, Tori. If you and I, before they start filming, agree, no kids, no kids, it should be no kids, period, right? And here's the thing. I love Garcelle, but if we are in agreement about things, then it can't be okay. Because when Garcelle feels like it's going to be okay, we're going to let it be okay. But when she feels like it's not going to be okay, we're going to not let it be okay. If we do a handshake and we say no kids, even if I'm writing a book, Toria, then I need to be in agreement with the handshake I gave you and not put anything about the kids in it, whether your kid is 10, 12, or 32, or 42, or 52. That's just my thought process on it. I don't know what anybody else thinks on the panel. What do you think?
Like if it was no kids and it was no kids like that really, Lisa? Like that? Then why weren't you more upset about how Erica was doing Jax? If it's really no kids, if it's really no kids, if it's really, you know what I mean? So she picks and chooses. She is a class act, haha. Anyway, plus it was on the show. So
I'm gonna go with
it was
Freddie. She's a
literally,
gremlin.
yeah, she's a gremlin. Don't wet her.
Yeah, I think that I understand that Garcelle just put in a quote, but I agree, Diva. If they said no kids, no kids.
Yeah. Yeah. If you do a handshake with me
Is the
before and say,
problem.
listen, go ahead.
Then if all Garcelle did was speak about it from her experience, then what was the problem? You know what I mean? Because like I said, everything else about it wasn't new information she put in the book. That did not sound like anything offensive, negative, or otherwise anything other than what we saw play out, and then was followed up with the admission that it was all true by the same daughter when she was outing her mom because she wouldn't give her the money for whatever when she wanted the money recently.
For her rehab. She wanted money for rehab.
Yeah.
But you know what though, Curbs? I get it, right? We cannot like Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna is Lisa Rinna. But if you and I shake hands before we start filming and we
I
say,
don't think that
listen,
really
no,
matters to Lisa. I doubt that really matters.
No, that's not true.
You think
I
it
don't agree
matters
with you,
to her?
Diva. I don't agree with you, Diva. Shaking hands is not signing a contract, okay? Shaking hands is not.
Sebastian, your word is everything. Your
In
word
some
is
states,
everything.
shaking hands does count. But two things both can be true. The
Uh-huh.
daughter can be old and it shouldn't matter because she quoted her. And again, it can be true. Hey, we talked about this, you
Sorry,
know,
Miss Jennifer, but a handshake don't hold up in court.
in some courts, baby.
And I mean, what does it matter a handshake when you're dealing with a woman who loves to stick knives in your back after knowing you for 20 years? I
True.
mean, what? But
You,
all
you
Lisa
know,
has no
here's the,
loyalty to
here's the
anybody.
thing though, Curves, right? Here's the thing. If I'm gonna beat somebody else down for going low and below the belt, then I'm better if I'm gonna go low and below the belt with them. Like I'm justified now because you went low,
I go to
right?
hell.
I'm
We all
beating
in
you.
hell with
I'm beating
Melody.
you. Say that again.
I said, because you went low, we all in hell with Melody. She said, you
Right,
go low, I go to hell.
right,
Right? Uh-uh.
right. See, that's all I'm saying, right? So we're justifying since you went low, I could go low with you, but I'm going to beat you down because you went low. I mean, what are we doing here? No, just because you go low, don't mean I got to go down low with you. I'm going to honor my word. If my word was no kids, then I'm going to stick to my word, no kids, right? If you need something so that you can write your book, dig deep down in your soul and write your book on your own merit. There's a lot in here about the real Housewives of Beverly Hills experience, but Garcelle, you had so much more you have done way before that show. So all I'm saying is you you put it in your book for a reason,
Yeah,
and
she's
it's
using
fine.
the moment. She's using the moment.
Huh? Yeah, there you go.
And
There
you
you
know
go.
what else? You know what else? By
Yes.
Lisa responding the way she did, she just basically helped Garcelle's book sales because now people really want to know and
The
they're like
first
going in.
edition.
But
Huh?
they're
Exactly.
probably not gonna get this edition though.
Yeah, but it's still gonna sell.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, but in real time, if anything, if I think it would have sold when in real time, we knew when Erica, well, we thought it was Erica, that she threw the book in the trash. That was a big thing on social media.
Oh yeah,
When
that's when it really her sales really went up. Yeah.
that's when I purchased it. That's when I got the book. Yes, yes,
Talk about
that's
a
when I
friend being
got
a
the book.
liability.
I was like, all right, y'all, I'll go ahead and go get the book. So that's when I got the book. And so I don't know how many of the first edition was out. It would be interesting though if somebody go gets it now and they still get the first edition. I don't know how many first editions were printed
Right.
and how many was sold. So I would love to know somebody who go gets the book now if it's in there. I'm not buying another one, y'all. I refuse.
I'm on Amazon right now.
Okay, let me know when yours come. When it comes out. But again, a lot in this book. I think did I finish this book? I can't remember now. I think I might have finished it. But a lot in the book it talks about the way Garcelle shows up on the show. If you get the book, you'll have an understanding of why Garcelle shows up the way she shows up. She always kind of felt throughout her life that she didn't belong at the table, that she wasn't good enough, so forth and so on. And unfortunately for Garcelle, this is playing out on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But I will give it to her that I still do. I like the way that she's responding, right? I like the way that she's not going to let them break her and that she's just but it was very unfortunate that you saw her pain. You saw her pain on that reunion stage, and I don't know. I'm now what I'm really wondering is how they're going to respond to Kathy, in what she went through versus how they responded to Garcelle and what she went through. It's like everybody is so team Kathy, about this, her and this Rinna thing, but nobody's connecting with Garcelle. But the thing is too, Crystal stuff is getting swept under the rug because no one is kind of connecting with Crystal and how she feels.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Crystal
much.
just,
It's called integrity. Thank you. Go ahead.
Crystal's just showing BS. Okay, Crystal is just trying to concoct something. Okay, I'm tired of this Crystal, 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 Crystal. As Kyle said, Crystal is just an inarticulate millennial. Okay.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, I felt like Crystal's ED was cured last night because she ate Kyle a couple of times, and we got
Oh,
seconds.
didn't she?
She was
Mhm.
Didn't
going
she?
after Carl.
Didn't she? But she needed to, right? She told Kyle enough because Kyle was actually the one sticking her foot in her mouth. So Kyle, you can be aggressive to Sutton. You can do all this stuff to Sutton, and you want to be understood, and nothing could be wrong. But you can't simply understand what Crystal is saying. It was her interpretation of the situation. Doesn't make her a liar. Doesn't make her dead wrong. When you're in a hospital, they said, I think I said this before too, right? That they said the patient pain is not what you think it is what they say it is. So they could be sitting there playing on their phone and they tell you their pain level is a 10. You got to deal with the fact that they said it's a 10, not thinking, oh, it really is a 2 because they're playing with their phone. So Crystal was just simply saying that it's my experience and I should get to be able to say how I felt about my experience. So yes, it was, yes,
Without
she,
Andy dismissing her.
right.
Yeah, they all dismissed her. And
Yeah.
after she
Mhm.
said it, I understood what she was saying. And it's not taken away from anything from Sutton. Sutton just, like I said, not trying to be rude. Sutton, even though Sutton is 50 years old, I just said, like, she still has that old white lady Southern slang. And she doesn't mean to be hurtful, but her words are hurtful sometimes. And
Yeah.
she could have said something, and because we have to remember Crystal is a person of color, and so it probably kind of like shook her, and she said that's when she first met Sutton. But I still don't think it's no worse than what those other women are doing on the show.
No, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm finally listening. Let Kathy get here. Y'all playing us out with these 3-part reunions that could have
We
really been
didn't.
2. I
We
mean,
didn't
come
Right.
on.
need this. We did not need
We
this. We
didn't.
had to watch them go to lunch, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired of seeing them little white boxes, and we never get to see what's in them.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk around with smoothies and drinks, and they spent all that extra time showing us this. We didn't care about them getting
Yeah.
glammed up. We didn't need to see that. We didn't need to see. We don't need to see Andy go in every dressing room
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and talk to each one. We don't need. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And them going to lunch and then taking a break and Andy talking to him what we doing next, and we didn't need none of that. That was
Cut
like
it
a
out.
half an hour that
Right.
we could have had all about what happened in Aspen.
That's how I felt at first, but I felt like, man, we could have had two what is it, two parts, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
two
but
parts.
but then I'm thinking about it, the way they treated Garcelle, it really got to sink in. Now I'm kind of glad, because because he was trying to stretch it out, he made it bad for himself. And also, when I wrote him the letter, I didn't tell him to like disappear. I was just like, you probably need a co-host, should get a co-host, a person of color that can explain microaggressions and racism comments to you.
Mhm.
But I
Um,
like Sebastian's idea though.
Jennifer,
A lie. A lie might last
the
forever, but
last
it
Can I
is
time,
a
say
good
something?
idea.
last time something happened, they had somebody speak to him and talk with him and everything about that. You know what his answer was?
Hmm.
He went and got a black guy to mess with to say that he wasn't racist.
Well, you know
You
what?
go to Jenny
I'm gonna
Lynn.
tell you this. I had 35 prisons, and I would go travel up and down California into all the prisons,
Hmm.
training these people on what not to do to get your butt fired or sued. And you know
Right.
what? I still walked in there with a red envelope and walked them off the job because they still did what I told them not to
Uh,
do.
Because you know what? It's not a is a class is a start.
Mm-hmm,
Bringing in an expert is a start.
mm-hmm.
But to do the work, it takes more than that,
It
right?
does.
And
Yeah.
then I think that too, we really have to learn how to really interact with each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'm not saying all the times, and we can't, as we're learning, we can't be so sensitive to every single word. Sometimes people use stuff to their advantage,
Yeah.
right? And it's really a hard thing to do, right? I've known people that, they know they wasn't doing the right thing on the job. But then the minute their manager wanted to reprimand them, then they want to cry. People know trigger words for HR,
Yeah, they
right?
want to pull the race card.
Right. They want to pull the race card. They want
Yeah,
to feel, you
I
made me
had
feel
that happen too.
uncomfortable.
Just
You,
Hmm.
because
you,
people will use
it's just very sad. But I think that the more we learn to be around each other, interact with each other, begin to understand each other, the better off we're going to be. Now, listen, I used to, because even my picture up there in the corner, like I was the braid queen, okay, and people on the job have to ask me, well, wait a minute, why one day your hair is down your back, and then one day your hair is really short, like. They were curious. I had some people that would get so offended by just people asking them. Like, I didn't care. As long as you wasn't getting crazy with me, like, I didn't care. Like, one day, depends on what was going on with my head. And my head would be wrapped in, a nice little wrap or whatever. And then the next day I come back and I got my braids. And then the next time I come back, there's no hair on my head. But, it's the understanding of the cultures can only happen if we're all comfortable being around each other. We're all comfortable and okay when somebody's asking you a question. You have to start to get comfortable being uncomfortable so that you can learn and you can grow. We're
And
not going to
take those
grow.
as teachable moments,
Yes, yes,
Can I
Right,
say
right.
something?
yeah,
I
yeah.
had
Do
that
the right
happen
thing.
before,
Educate when you
Diva.
can. Huh?
Somebody asked me about my hair because years ago I used to go to this black hairdresser named Denise, and I was the lightest thing in the salon, and she used to do my hair like 4 or 5 times a week, and she wanted to put me in her hair shows, that they were having at the different civic centers. I would have finger waves one week, scrunchies, braids, and but what made me mad is when some white person came over to me on my job and reached to touch my hair to see was my hair stiff or hard or something. She was like, "What they put in your hair? A whole jar of hairspray or gel?" I'm like, "No, no." She didn't put none of that kind of stuff in there. She just knew how to do hair, and it didn't come out until she took it out. But don't touch my hair. That
Right.
that she reached and touched it all at the same time. I sure did slap her
Well,
hand
yeah,
around.
don't just touch me unauthorized now, but you can ask me
Mm-mm.
questions. You can
Exactly.
Yeah,
ask me questions.
ask
But
me.
listen, guys, it is super late for me.
Can
I
I
just
say
Yeah,
one
wanted
last
to
thing?
get on here
11:32.
and get this, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 2 out the way. I mean, I thought it was okay. Only reason why I'm gonna watch 3 is because Kathy is finally coming. They playing
Please,
games,
can't
right?
wait.
They're playing games with us. And I thought it was on purpose, her now showing up in this nightgown and her slippers. But
Mhm.
whatever. So Kathy knows what she's doing sometime too. So I'll go around for a quick closeout. Yes, girl, same for me. It's 11:33. Okay. Curves. What would you like to say?
It was a good episode. It was a good episode. I would love for there to be an episode though of what they edited out, of only the stuff they edited out, because I think
We'll probably get
that
pissed
would
off.
explain a lot of it. And just one last thing: money doesn't make you not racist leaning. So
Oh.
just because Nene was getting paid does not negate the treatment that she may have received while getting said paycheck, or any other person for that matter.
Because you always get me ready to run my mouth. But you know what? We're gonna have to have another conversation about this. The thing is though, right? Long time ago, when we wanted change as a people, right? We didn't we okay, so for instance, when they wanted change on the bus, when they no longer wanted to sit on the back of the bus, they didn't keep taking the bus and say, oh, you're dead wrong for not letting us sit down and sit here, whatever. They stopped getting on the bus and shut the system down, and then change happened. So if I'm somewhere and I'm going to keep taking the situation, but then I want to complain on the side, change is not going to happen because the people are not going to take you seriously. So all I'm saying is,
Well, that's
in
unfortunate.
my opinion, Nene kept the taking the check, and she would have not stopped taking the check until that year that they wanted to give her a friend of. Then all of a sudden, now we got to hear. She claimed that this was going on from the day she walked on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But why she wasn't screaming loud and clear that day one? Why did she wait till 10 years later?
Well,
I would like to say
because
something. I
even
would like to say
buses,
something.
what year was the bus created and when did the finally then when did we finally walk out? Things take time. If you're willing to give these people 400 more years to take time to learn how to talk to a black person, then surely Nene can have a couple years to try to get her cash stacked and get them for all she can until she can no longer tolerate it in any level, regardless of what the circumstances are. I mean, it doesn't have to be, and it's also unfortunate for the people that didn't get to find out and didn't take her seriously, because now here we are. It's 3 years after Nene started her talking about all this, 3 years later. And now here we are. All the people that didn't take her seriously are like, now we see what Nene was talking about. But it was still happening regardless.
Curves, you're gonna
Can
make
I
me.
say
You're gonna
something,
have to
please?
do.
Can I
Yes,
say
you
something?
will. You will, Sebastian. But Curves, now you're gonna have to make me fit in a trending topics day because we're gonna have to continue this conversation on a larger scale. But right now, I'm gonna shut up because I got to go to bed. Sebastian, what do you want to say? Put
Okay.
your clothes
So
out.
I want to say this. I might get the chat excited, by the way.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, I don't think that Andy should have a second co-host for the people of color. I'm gonna say this. This is why. Either he
Hmm.
does it or he just lets someone else does it. Due to the fact it's going to be come off as a privilege that the colored people have, but then the other ones who are not colored in the show, in the franchise, they won't have that privilege. Then this is where somehow the special treatment is going to be, we're going to be seen as, oh, why do we get special treatment? Why do we get special treatment? Is it because
Mhm.
they're the black ones, they get special treatment? It's a problem. Second of all, we there's a difference between ignorance and racist.
Hmm.
For example, oh Lord, what I'm about to say,
Just say
Ramona
it.
Singer is not a racist. Can we please agree to that?
Who? Who?
Ramona Singer is not a racist.
I will whoop your tail. I'll be up in New York by the weekend.
Ramona is not a racist.
She's a racist.
No, she's
Ramona
not.
Singer
But
is a
wait,
racist.
let her
She
finish,
was
Toria,
down
because
on
I
that
got to go
Trump
to bed.
boat all
Hold on,
summer when she,
Toria, let her finish because I really got to go to bed. But go ahead, Sebastian. You got 60 seconds.
Okay, Ramona Singer is not a racist. There's a difference, as Bershawn Shaw said it too. When you grow up around a certain group of people all your life, you are not aware of what could be when you start integrating with others. It's like you are not aware. So I do think Ebony did F up this woman. Like,
Period.
I really
Stop.
do. Like, Ebony should have never been complaining on race things. Because Ramona also said Ebony was texting her and everything and how everything went. Yes, she did say in a black scent, which is problematic. But we can't call this woman a racist just because of that. We would have been hearing reports years ago. Yes, she probably treats her staff like crap. But listen, my family, when they go back to the motherland, they treat their staff as crap, and they're the same color as them. So it's not really a race thing. It's a classism. We need to look at
Mhm.
classism.
I completely agree with that too.
We need to look at classism.
Yeah, racism is just a byproduct.
Ramona's not a
So
racist. I
okay,
just
and,
want to put
and
that
you know
out
what, Sebastian, okay. I'm connecting with pieces of your story. And I'm connecting with pieces of it. I'm just gonna say that because I got to go to bed. uh, uh, Common sense, Team Garcelle. What are your final words?
Okay. Sebastian, anybody that hangs out with Trump, I'm looking at you sideways, so you can call him what you want. Okay. I this episode, Diva, like for me, I said it was eye-opening. It was really emotional for me to sit up there and watch someone be emotional and the host not pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying bring and Sebastian, I don't have a thing with affirmative action. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm saying somebody, even if it's a teachable moment, we're missing moments. And Diva, I'll just say this, 'cause I know you got to go to bed. The thing about it is too, when I wrote Andy and then I went on Garcelle's page and I said something to her and then I just started scrolling. So many celebrities is saying something about what happened in defense of Garcelle. So something is going to get shaken up, because when you have celebrities coming out in groups, you know what I'm saying? Something will happen. He'll probably get my letter off the printer and throw it in the shredder. But
no. He may not, because I'm glad you wrote it. And yes, I'm agreeing 100% that we, like I said, we saw it with our own eyes. What went down with Garcelle and the way her feelings were ignored, just even the whole book scene where you sitting there joking about this girl recycling. They trashed my book, Andy. But even if I forget about them trashing my book, they got a whole separate group text.
And he didn't even acknowledge it.
He didn't even acknowledge. And like Garcelle said, they want to try to say they wasn't laughing. Y'all was laughing at Sickener. Stop it. Stop it. Y'all were laughing.
I'm going to say good night to y'all. And prayers. I'm gonna pray for your daddy, and I hope everything goes good with them. I know you got to get up early so you can get up that hospital.
Yeah.
Good night, daughter. Good night, son. You're on punishment.
Toria, before you go, I don't remember the name of the darn show. It's a very, very old show. But the ending, I don't know if it was, I think it was the ending of the show. They would say like, good night, John, good night, so-and-so. The Waltons. You just reminded me of that by saying good night, daughter, good night, son. But listen, guys. Good night,
John boy.
Yes. But listen, guys, much love. You know, I love having this conversation with y'all. I love doing this with y'all. We are going to do a trending topics because we need to have a bigger conversation on this, right? It's real. And now, Common Sense, Team Garcelle, you have encouraged me to now send my letter and send my support, because you are right. The way Garcelle was treated on this darn reunion is deplorable. I'm not even going into a black, white, yellow, orange, green thing. I'm going into just Garcelle as a person. You ignored her feelings, and not only just Garcelle. I don't want to ignore Crystal, right? I listen.
I mentioned Crystal too.
Yes, I have the ability. I could like you, not like you, but if you being done wrong, I could still connect with the wrong, right? And so they did Crystal dirty. You know, Sutton didn't fare off that well either, because the way Kyle treated her, they brought in a little bit to try to gaslight us as a fan, right? They was like, oh, Kyle, you didn't like when what's the name pushed on you, and so it's the same thing that you did to Sutton, but she blew it off like, oh, Sutton, I wasn't the one that put marks on you or this, that, and the other. It's just, we saw the nonsense with our own eyes, right? And all I'm trying to say is, right, I don't doubt stuff happened to Nene, but what you got to know as a people is, if you're going to send somebody to represent us, right, to the HR, you can't send the person who come to work late every day. You can't send the person that got a mouth and speak back to the boss. You got to send the person that's the most cleanest, most pristine, so that when that person goes, right, they can't deny or ignore their complaint, because they know it's not going to fly over well. So that's all I'm saying to you is, we got to make moves, but you got to make smart moves. And when you go to make those moves, you got to make sure you send the right person to represent you. I know everybody loves Nene, but she was not the right representative for
Yeah.
that particular situation.
Especially when
And I
But
she's
she
wanted
under.
to say
was the
when I
right
wrote,
representative for her experience that she wanted to fight for, as she saw as mistreatment to her person in this world.
Wait,
And
say that again, Curse. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said she was the right person to speak up for herself and what she felt she was treated as in her experience. That was right. But you're right. As a representative for all, I feel that she's more suited to be a representation of maybe taking your note of maybe only work there for a year instead of 12 years if you're on this type of platform. And then people might be inclined to listen to you next time.
and I
See, Curse,
wanted
you
to,
trying to have me not go to sleep, but let me just add this to the situation too, right? But I'm
yeah,
about to go to bed. But let me add this to Curbs. We gotta be reminded, right? Nene has said some problematic stuff and done some problematic stuff
exactly.
herself that contradicts the words that come out of her own mouth. Listen, as Lisa Wu said, Nene, every time she was asked who should come back on that show, she said Kim. She said Kim. But then you want to put Kim's name in the lawsuit saying she was the one that was part of the problem of the racism.
Oh
Thank
yeah, you're
So
right.
you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
we're
Carl?
gonna keep you up till 3 because I could
Yeah,
say
no, we got to go.
all
We
day
got to go.
long.
We're gonna
But
come
if
back.
Kim
I
Zolciak comes
promise
near me,
you.
friend or not, she can't say that. And if I go to HR and tell them that my white friend said the N word around me and I told her I was uncomfortable, then y'all need to do something about it.
the last thing I wanted to say, Diva, is when I wrote the letter to Andy, I was very respectful,
Yes,
but fair
yes,
and firm. Because
yes,
I wanted him to read it
yes.
and to know that I, as a watcher and a person of color, it broke my heart to see that woman crying and the host laughing while she's crying.
Right.
Right.
It was so dehumanizing. It
Yes,
was
it
Yes,
was.
dehumanizing.
Yes, it was. Now see here, Curbs. Garcelle can be the voice to this situation.
she
We'll
can.
see how long she's already been. This is year 3. I mean, what's our threshold for taking it? See,
We'll
this
talk about it later. I ain't
No, no,
messing
no,
with
no,
so
you
no,
she
no.
right
also
now.
Don't
supposedly
do
is
that.
about
I
to get
love
paid
y'all. I love y'all.
$75.
I ain't messing
Good
with you right
night.
now,
Good
Curse.
night.
Bye.
Good
But
night.
Curse, listen, Curse.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
caught it though. I caught it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna hold on to it and we're gonna discuss it later. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for
Okay.
stopping by.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye.